All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Apparently my brain is mush today. So we will begin the local contract review board meeting, and we'll do agenda approval. I have a motion for agenda approval.
So move.
I'll second.
All right, I will call out an order. Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody. You're muted. I saw a hand wave.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, and aye.
Aye.
All right, agenda approved. Sorry for the dog barking in the background. Visitors to the board, we had no comments submitted. So we will move to finding of facts. Rick Raynone, Cornerstone Management Group. Go ahead, sir, you are on.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent, Board, other administrators who are there. My name is Rick Raynone. I've been working with the bond management team that we formed to start working on dealing with issues related to budget, schedule, and as we start launching the bond, the team's doing a great job. Over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about the different ways to buy the construction. State of Oregon allows 3 ways: design, bid, build, which is their traditional way, doesn't require board action. We looked at the project with the complexities, doing construction work with students on site over the course of possibly 2 school years. We looked at other methods available to the district. The method, the design, or the bond management team selected was the CMGC method. That's the abbreviation. It stands for Construction Manager and General Contractor. What's different about this method is we hire the contractor early. The contractor joins the team of the owner, the architect, the owner's representative, and they come on and they help us in the design phase doing certain tasks that are defined, and we contract them to do. They're very active in the bid and award phase, where we want to reach out to local companies and share the opportunities that are coming under that method. We've been very successful in getting local companies involved, and we will continue that here. In order to get approval for this method, the state requires that the local contract review board, which is typically the school board, must consider findings of facts and then pass a resolution to allow the district to use that alternative method. And so what I want to do tonight is give you the highlights of the findings of facts so that if you have questions, I can answer them. And hopefully what we accomplish together tonight is that we get this method approved. We're working on a request for proposal and a process to start that selection process. But if you look at the findings, you can see that a lot of public agencies have used that method successfully. If you look at the findings, the top 5 are clients we've worked with and completed very successful CMGC projects. So it's used by school districts, it's used by higher education, and the city of Portland uses it from time to time, and Washington County uses it as well. One of the requirements for the findings is that we advertise 14 days before the meeting to allow anybody who wants to speak in opposition or in support of the process. That was advertised in the Chronicle on September 9th, so it was adequately early enough for this meeting. In the findings of facts, we described the project, we described the responsibilities of the CMGC firm, we described the rationale to utilize the CMGC method. I want to cover those in just a few minutes. One of the things we have to do is we have to allow competition and not encourage favoritism. Our process accomplishes that. We anticipate multiple construction packages. We know we're going to have to go through a process to procure long lead items earlier than the design will be complete. The schedule needs to be complex. It is. We believe it's a great way to reduce change orders, which add costs to the project. It will minimize and hopefully assure that we don't have to accelerate, where we have to spend money to get projects done on time. It is a process that has great cost management. We list some of the schools that have successfully completed that. We have to commit that there's going to be adequate time for bid packages and also to review and analyze the bid packages so that the awards are made in a way that we award to the right contractor. Market conditions are interesting right now. There isn't as much work in the K-12 market as there was the last 3 years. We think there's going to be a tremendous focus on making sure that we get to the distributors and get to the vendors that we need, and that get ahead of any concerns that we have about delivery. There needs to be an awareness that we're going to really work hard to get involvement by local contractors and suppliers who are going to do that. And there has to be qualified management available. We've done it over 100 times on K-12 projects, and so we think we meet those requirements. Some of the public benefits are that we think we're going to complete the project on time and not have anything that would cause us to go over the schedule. Also, public safety is a goal and a requirement. Under this process, the contractor will put together a very detailed safety plan and how we separate construction from teaching and learning so that they both can occur safely. Also, we want to make sure we minimize our impact on teaching and learning. And under this process, there'll be a logistics plan, there'll be a safety plan that will be shared with staff at the school. Many times we involve the fire marshal and the governing agencies with it. We believe some of the advantages will be cost savings, reduction of schedule risk, opportunity to select a really qualified firm that will provide qualified staff to help us with the project. We think we're also going to get accurate cost data from the estimates that they'll provide to us so that we can make decisions related to design and what we may include in base bid and what we may buy as a bid alternate. We think that we have an assurance of timely completion. We also think that under this process that because we develop a partnership and everybody's involved in focusing on quality, that we can obtain high quality as well. As I stated, it's a process that's been used a lot. We think that using this process for the addition and renovation of St. Helens High School would be the right thing for the district to do. Does anybody have any questions about the process that I could answer at this time?
So I'm guessing that in the middle of this process, there will be significant savings through the lack of the change orders and ensuring that as we work towards building, especially since it's going to involve a structure that will remain intact in many ways, that there may be an increased cost at the front end as opposed to doing an RFP at a wider level, but it will reduce overall costs through this process, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
With the design bid build, there are many unknowns. The contractor hasn't been involved in the design. And so they have to, as a contractor myself, I had to protect myself in that case. So I
Correct.
put in a significant sum for what if I run into something unusual. And then I ate it when it came. But that's a self-defense thing where with CMGC, the contractor goes in as he's gone through the design process, or they have done sampling of the building and examination of the building. They're pretty wide-eyed. They know what's going on, and they can select the correct help. So in this case, with the remodel, this is really a better way to go.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with what you said that a project like this one, one of our challenges will be unforeseen conditions. What do we find when we do excavation and are digging for our footings and foundations? What do we find when we open up walls and want to make changes to the design of the building? So I agree with you. In the design bid build process, contractors have to protect themselves because not everything that you run into does the owner have to pay the contractor for. So I do believe on a project like this one, contractors would add to their bid for many of the unknowns. So if there aren't any more questions, another requirement that we have to address is that anybody who wants to speak in opposition of the process or in support of the process needs to be given an opportunity to speak with a local contract review board. Where we are now, they would have had to turn in a request to Ed. And Ed, have you received any requests for anybody who wants to speak about the findings that we're discussing tonight?
No, we have not.
Okay. So the next steps would be during the action period of your board meeting, the local contract review board would need to have a resolution. We provided an example of a resolution that would cover all the key points. And so I think the next step is during the action time of the meeting, you would need to discuss that and hopefully approve that resolution so that we could move forward. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, and it is on our agenda for the regular action items.
Okay, and I'm going to I'm going to stay online. Ed, I'm going to keep working on connecting through Zoom. For whatever reason, my Mac is just not helping, but I think that covers what we needed to discuss about the findings until the board takes action later in the meeting.
All righty, well, thank you very much for your presentation. So that is the end of the local contract review meeting. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Bill's waved at it.
I'll second.
So we do have a notice from Kelly saying that there's notifications that we're not live. On my screen, I show that we are, but I'm obviously not tied into an exterior perspective.
The YouTube feed was delayed slightly. They had a glitch on their side, but we're live now.
Okay. And all of what just transpired was recorded and will be available for review?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have that. So we have a motion on adjourning this meeting. Who seconded? Ryan, I believe?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor? Bill?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Melody?
Aye.
And I. So we'll move into the next call to order for supplemental budget hearing. Agenda approval.
So move.
I'll second.
All right, we have a moved and a seconded. Bill?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye. Aye.
And I. There may still be some technical glitches, it sounds like. Obviously, it's difficult to control exterior things. Ed, just before we move forward with this, there's nothing on our side that we can do to ensure that this continues to be streamed live, correct?
I have the link that I show as being live, and I'll repost that on the school board webpage and the calendar, so that'll be accessible. At the conclusion of the streaming, it'll be on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
And it does show we're recording.
It just shows us waiting for the video and that there's people in the queue. So it's gone from 8 people to 6 people. It just says waiting for St. Helens School District.
Okay, well, while Ed works on that, there were no comments submitted, I believe. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
That is accurate, yes.
Okay, no comments. So moving into budget hearing. Dee, you have the floor.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to switch over to, because we're having a budget hearing, I'm going to show the notice that was in the newspaper. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see it? Thank you. All right. So we, as a district, utilize supplemental budgets quite frequently. However, this set of supplemental budgets is a little different in that we had 2 funds that were recognizing an increase in appropriated expenditures of more than 10%, which required a notice of supplemental budget hearing that went into the newspaper, and the form as created has us reflect the amounts in the budget as what they will appear as revised. So it's not quite intuitive. Even as I was preparing the form, it was a little different. So again, this is what was published in the newspaper. And as I discussed when I forwarded the board resolutions for review, the capital project fund budget will actually be less than what we prepared. But for purposes of the hearing, I just want to go over the changes. The first fund, which will be changing. It's our Fund 200, which is special revenues. We are recognizing 2 grants that we have certainty about at the time of the preparation of the budget back in the spring. So thankfully, the Oregon legislature was able to appropriate funds to partially fund the student investment account. And so the supplemental budget will recognize a grant totaling $680,309. And then a second wave of ESSER funding came through as allocated by the governor's office. She had some discretionary funds to package, and she decided to allocate those to districts based off of enrollment numbers to support comprehensive distance learning. So the district prepared a grant application, and that grant, which is a federal source, will be $114,941. The second fund is the Capital Projects Fund. And with May elections, districts have an option to put together a supplemental budget once they have more information about bond proceeds and anticipated expenditures. So as we've been able to onboard Cornerstone, you got to meet Rick tonight. We were able to put together a preliminary budget for the high school renovation, as well as recognize the bond proceeds. And we do expect to earn some sort of interest on those bond proceeds as we wait for the project to start. And so you'll see here the other sources of $75,365,000. Those are bond proceeds and premium that the district received. And then the local sources represents the anticipated interest. However, since this project is at its onset, we're only anticipating spending $14,626,000. And so the residual will flow through the ending fund and be available for future years for the bond program. So that, if there's any questions about either supplemental budgets, I'd be happy to answer them now. Otherwise, we can move through the agenda.
I don't hear any other questions. Do I have a motion to adjourn the supplemental budget meeting?
Sure, and I'm sorry, I am actually going to just clarify one thing. This other sources, 75 million, is, as I mentioned, this form isn't necessarily inherently, it doesn't align with how we usually look at the budget. So the 75 million is total sources, not the bond premium and interest. That was a smaller amount of about 62 million. So the total fund for these other sources is the 75 million.
Okay.
I misspoke, so I apologize.
Thank you for the clarification.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Bill.
All right.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
And aye. All right, that meeting is adjourned. We will now call to order the regular school board meeting. Agenda approval.
Okay, I guess I'll still be on it. I tried.
Give an opportunity.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Bill.
All right.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
And aye. All right, so visitors to address the board. We have not received any public comments submitted prior to 5 p.m., correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Consent agenda. The board on an individual basis prior to the meeting has reviewed all material. All financial reports are available for review by the public in the business office. The board considers consent agenda items routine business and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items at the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. And I'll go through each one. 4.1, general fund revenue and expenditures year-to-date June 2019 to 20. 4.2, general fund revenue and expenditures year-to-date August 2020 through 21. 4.3, operating disbursement check report August 2020. 4.4, operating disbursement ACH report August 2020. 4.5, human resources report September 2020. 4.6, approved GBEB, communicable diseases staff. 4.7, approve GBN, JBA, sexual harassment. 4.8, approve JBA, GBN, sexual harassment. 4.9, approve JHCC, communicable diseases students. And 4.10, meeting minutes summary from September 9th, 2020 board work session.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Billy.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
And I. New business, school reports. Would we like to start with our early learning?
Sure, Martine, want to take it away?
Sure. Does Christy have our slides to show?
Oh, that's me.
Oh, Lisa does. Okay. Thanks, Lisa.
You see it?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have good news. We received our contract from the Early Learning Division for our 20 preschool promise slots. There is a shift this year to the way enrollment is done, and it's going to be handled through the Early Learning Hub and through a lottery system. So it's delayed enrollment a little bit, but there's plenty of applications turned in, so that's really good news. We're also increasing the number of contracted slots with the ESD so that we can serve more children with individual educational needs, IFSPs, in our classroom, which is going to help that transition to kindergarten for those students. And at the direction of the Early Learning Division, they took a little bit different spin on the approach for virtual learning for preschoolers. Instead of comprehensive distance learning, we have comprehensive home-based learning with a focus on play, which fits really nicely with our program philosophy. So we'll be providing families with kits and really encouraging play-based learning to minimize that time online for our youngest kids. So that time when they are in circle time will really be focused on building community in the classroom and relationships between students and their teachers.
All right, we're going to move right into the elementary now, and we want to report that we spread parent-teacher conferences over 6 days, and conferences were between 20 and 60 minutes each. If a family had siblings or more than one child, then they had less time with teachers, as the longer conference really went over the Chromebook and the quick cards and the login information. And so we felt that it was very successful, and it was good to see kids and families in the building, and we made sure that there was safety measures that took place, and there was great attendance for this, and some were virtual and some were on site. And the teacher here in this picture is Megan Anderson at Columbia City Kindergarten, first grade, I think now.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And so we also had picture day, which it's a big thing in elementary school, getting to come to have your picture. So Bell Studios worked with us. They came out in the evening to each elementary school a different night. And they set up fantastic social distancing. We brought kids into a space where they could get their picture taken with their mask off. That was the only time their mask came off, was the picture. We had about 80% of our students in the 3 schools attend, and I could say that families were pretty excited to be able to do something that felt normal, like the beginning of school to them.
I have to remember to unmute. Elementary social workers. So we interviewed for an elementary social worker last Friday and Monday. We held interviews virtually, so that's always exciting and fun. We did select a candidate, and we're waiting for final approval through HR and acceptance by the candidate. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get that wrapped up real soon, and that person can start real soon.
Excellent. So all 3 of our elementary schools are Title I schools, and so we're required to do something called universal screening of our students to assure that our students don't have needs in the areas of reading or math. And our title teachers and their assistants did an amazing job of coming up with a way to do this virtually. So we will start our universal screeners for our 1st through 5th grade. It was determined that this is a little bit much for our kinders to do online, so we're going to catch them up a little bit later. But beginning Friday, we're going to be doing reading fluency, word reading, and letter sounds. And the teachers have masterfully come up with a way to do breakout rooms. So they would do a breakout room, do a 1-minute timed reading test or word reading test with a student. And then they're going to train families on how to do the vocabulary comprehension and math section. So thank you to our title teachers for figuring out a way to make sure that our students have what they need to be supported.
I've been meeting with a group of different community agencies, including the city, Parks and Rec, our child care resource and referral. And together we put together a survey for child care providers to see how our different agencies in the district could support those child care providers. So one thing that came up in that was help with understanding how to support elementary school students with the technology and just online learning. So we've put together an event that will be live tomorrow night at 6:30. It'll include the 3 elementary principals, and then Tim Trappold from McBride has been fantastic and is going to demonstrate the technology, and then we'll have a Q&A section too, so that providers can get their questions answered. And this is really intended for, in-home licensed childcare centers, but also family members that are providing care for elementary school students who maybe didn't get to attend their one-on-one parent-teacher conference.
We were able to, in the fall, because we went into comprehensive distance learning, we were able to move Tim Trappold, not just at McBride, but to support all 3 elementaries. And so that has really supported our teachers to be able to have access to him. And now we'll be able to give access and his expertise at the elementary level for families too. This is Lindsay Campbell, and she, for tomorrow night's event, she wanted to she was on our little team that organized this event, and she wanted to give a message from the teachers, from the elementary teachers to families and childcare providers, and we thought you'd enjoy watching this.
Hi, parents, caregivers, and childcare providers.
Whoops.
As we begin the school year, I want to start off by saying I hope you know how thankful we are for your support and the role you are playing in our students' education. From joining to Zoom meetings, logging in, to navigating homework, we are so thankful for you. It's taking students, teachers, and you all to make a difference this year. This year, we are expecting students to join their classroom Zoom meetings and be learning ready with their school supplies. Your school supplies might include a spiral notebook and pencil, headphones if they are in a distracting or loud environment, a water bottle, and a snack. On the days that they are not with their Zoom meetings, students will have assignments to complete. We have had a great first week, and teachers and students could not have done it without the support from you, so thank you.
So as you can see, we are ending on a positive note and just a positive message from staff.
Well, thank you, Lisa and team and Martine. Do we want to just roll right into middle school?
I do have one.
Smiling, I won't forget you, Dustin. Thank you, Dustin, and thank you, Jennifer V. So there we go, we got them all.
I do have a question before we move on. So for the 20% that didn't get their pictures taken, obviously lots of things moving on that. Is there going to be any opportunity down the road to try and set something up for those missed, or are they just going to miss it for this year?
That's a really good question. We last night when McBride had picture day yesterday, and I was talking to the owner of Bell Studios, and he is willing to set anything up for us. He's hoping that, you know, at some point we come back to our hybrid model, and then we would be able to catch kids at that point and take their picture then. So it's kind of on hold right now, just to see what happens if we come to a point where we don't come back to school. We would definitely make arrangements, but we're hopeful that we'll be back with kids and be able to invite Bell Studios back to our buildings.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Lewis and Clark has talked to him or tried to get a hold of him to reschedule and do another retake sometime in October. Ben, the owner of Bell Studios, said that he's super busy because they've had to cut back staffing, and so they're really swamped in their schedules. So we're hoping to get them sometime in October for retakes and to narrow down the time frame. We had, I think, 9 hours of a schedule last Tuesday for parents to come through. So that takes a lot of time for 2 photographers. So as you can imagine, he's doing that throughout districts across Oregon and Southwest Washington. So we're working on that.
I think you're on, Chris.
All right. Good evening, board members, guests, and administrators. I'm Chris William, principal, St. Helens Middle School. A couple highlights for us in the reopening. We also had a Chromebook and picture day, quite successful. And I had an opportunity to meet many of our 6th grade parents during that event as they drove up. So that was wonderful. But bigger highlights are centered around the success of actually opening our digital learning and the implementation of Canvas. So I have today with me 2 guests for our presentation. Scott Piper, who is our STEAM teacher, as well as technology guru for St. Helens Middle School. And then I have Kim Snook with us, who is a math teacher at the middle school. And along with her is daughter, student Riley at the middle school. This evening, we're going to show you a little bit about Canvas and show you some of the teacher Canvas pages, as well as how a student might navigate Canvas successfully. So Scott, are we ready for this portion?
I just need to share.
No, we've got there's too many Scotts on the line, I guess. Mr. Piper over there. Let's round out the school reports and then get to your presentation, because I know that we've got folks eager to hear what you have to share.
You bet.
Perfect. Then to conclude our school reports, we've had those similar successful events. We also had the parent-teacher conferences, which was a student and parent orientation to Canvas and Acellus, as well as kind of how our hybrid structure and comprehensive distance learning structure will operate this year. And then beyond that, some of the struggles we're currently having are the unique circumstances of when a staff member is absent. So that's one problem we're working really hard to solve, is that when a teacher is out, how do we provide a similar opportunity for students to experience synchronous learning or asynchronous learning? And how do we get substitutes access and training to run a similar classroom as the regular teacher? So we're working on that problem now, and we have some pretty cool solutions that involve collaborating with other staff members or combining cohorts for synchronous sessions that have worked out so far. So that's what we're facing currently, and I look forward to seeing you a little bit later where we present a more detailed look at Canvas for middle school.
Thanks, Chris. Katie, are you ready?
Yes, I am all set. Good evening. I'm Katie Wagner, principal at St. Helens High School. I wanted to start just briefly showing you some amazing student work that has already come out of this school year. Let me open up, I think I've got screen. Okay. Can you see this YouTube right here? Are you looking at YouTube? Okay. I'm going to play just a little snippet of our new student, so our 9th grade orientation assembly that was put together by our leadership students to welcome our 9th graders into our school. I'm just going to play a little snippet of it. This is actually the advice that our 10th grade student leaders are giving our incoming 9th graders.
My advice to the incoming 9th graders is to just jump into high school with both feet. Try new things, join clubs, get involved, take the classes that you want to take, not the classes that your friends want to take. Because high school, it is what you make of it, really. If you decide that it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy and something great for you, then that's what it's going to be. So do everything you can to make this year and the rest of your high school experience great. Because even though this year is going to be really different and a little crazy, doesn't mean it can't be awesome.
Hey guys, I'm Colton Freeman. I'm the sophomore class vice president, and I'm here to tell you guys, the freshmen, about some sophomore advice. My advice for the incoming freshmen would be to not hesitate to put yourselves out there. If you had told me a few years ago that I would be the sophomore class VP, I probably would have laughed and said, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I'm almost too afraid to. But I listened to advice from my peers, my parents, and other friends of mine, and I took my shot, and now I can make a difference in my school. So maybe you guys can take my advice and make a difference in the school as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and incoming freshmen, I hope you guys have a great year.
Hi everyone, my name is Sadie McGuire and I'm the sophomore class secretary. My advice to you for this year is to stay organized, especially while we're doing online school right now. It's really important to stay organized. By staying organized, it'll be easier to do all your classwork and get all your homework done, and it'll teach you organizational skills for the future.
Hello, I am James Olson, a sophomore. To all incoming freshmen, I'm giving you advice to walk on the right side of the hall. As you can see, this is the wrong way to walk on the hall. As of course, people will come and just start running into you through a constant basis. And this is why you walk on the right side of the hall.
Hey guys,
So I just wanted to share a little snippet of that and how creative our students are in this new format, and making sure that everyone feels welcome, is getting good advice. Students all had access to this link, and it includes us singing our anthem, gives some school expectations, different activities, talking about Club Rush coming in. So we're trying to keep some sense of normalcy of what high school is like for our students, but being creative in how we're putting that together. So I wanted to share with you a couple of highlights. So this is actually the advertisement for that, and I will send this link out if you would like to watch the entire orientation video our students put together. So here's some numbers. We had our registration / pictures / Chromebook distribution drive-through, and we had nearly 90% of our students attend. So it was highly attended, which we were very excited about. Currently, we have 832 total actively enrolled students at the high school. 232 of those are enrolled in our virtual academy. And every single one of those students have been receiving phone calls on a weekly basis from our staff advocates, which is a program we implemented during distance learning in the spring. So we have every single student is connected to a staff member who is reaching out, keeping those students connected to school, accessing resources, helping them navigate technology. And I think due to the success of that, by today, there were only 56 students who had not yet logged into Canvas. However, 35 of those are virtual academy students who don't necessarily have to log into Canvas. They can bypass that and log into Acellus directly. 5 of those are in life skills special education. 2 are receiving credit recovery through Admentum, so they don't have any Canvas courses. So that means out of 832 of our students, we only have 12 who have not signed into Canvas who they are expected to. So we can really tailor our outreach and get those students engaged in school. So not too bad for only the 4th day of school. So we have a couple of upcoming dates. We are having a virtual back to school night on Tuesday, October 6th from 6 to 8, and more information will come out to our families. In the interest of keeping things along the same calendar that we normally would, even though we're not having a homecoming football game, we're going to continue with our homecoming activities, and we have our homecoming court that our top 20 will be announced on September 29th. And then we also are going to be doing some textbook checkout next week, and teachers will be sharing information with students who are going to be receiving those textbooks. So that's going to be tailored depending on the courses and how they're going to get that information. Not all classrooms have textbooks. So here are a couple of pictures from our registration and Chromebook distribution. So we had some amazing volunteers coming out. Students got out of a car, came over, had their picture taken, hopped right back in after they grabbed all of their information packets. So we had, like I said, a great turnout. So here's a couple of glows and grows. And in order to really get a sense of what's happening, I asked our staff to submit some of these. And you can read through these on the screen, or I'll also send them to you. But there's a pretty consistent theme in that everyone is feeling a lot less anxiety. We are excited about the willingness of our staff and our families to collaborate and learn and grow with us. Everyone has been incredibly gracious with our staff as we navigate these new technologies. People are getting the hang of things. They're available to students and parents. The students that are getting into the right classes, which the first week of high school, even in person, gets a little crazy as far as scheduling goes. But our attendance has been pretty good. Cameras have been on, kids are engaging. And so we've got a lot of really great things that we're very excited about. Couple of grows. We have had some tech issues with Canvas and Google. We have a really complex master schedule, especially because we have 2 cohorts. And so linking those with Canvas and making sure everything is aligned has been a little bit tricky, but I think we're working that out. We want to try to brainstorm some ideas to get more engagement into Zoom classes. Usually the first week of school, we kind of get the deer in the headlights anyways. But in Zoom meetings, it's even a little more challenging for teachers to engage that. So we're trying to be creative around that. We recognized, especially with Acellus and our virtual academy, that it's a very new format. And so our teachers are really working to meet each student at their current level, make sure they're challenged throughout their entire course. And really wanting to make sure that all of our courses, including science and CTE, are a meaningful experience, trying to be authentic, but also recognize what those limitations are. But I think probably one of my favorite grows that our staff included was that we all have room to grow. All of us, our school district employees, our students, our parents, our community members. And I think, you know, we all take a deep breath, we exhale some grace, and we be a little more patient for one another, and we will get through this together. So, you know, if those are our biggest challenges and our growth, I think that really bodes well for how well our entire community is working together. So I just want to show a couple of slides of a couple of courses. This is Chef Rousseau's Canvas class. So this is her Zoom kitchen and her Bitmoji classroom. Each of these are active links. So this is the Zoom kitchen where you log in for your synchronous lessons. This is where you can follow #LionsWhoCook on Instagram, class agenda, what is Chef Rousseau cooking? So she does a couple of her own pre-recorded videos. This is some Ruby cooking school, some curriculum, needs some inspiration, a culinary media center. So, and it's in quite a little interesting kitchen in there too. So we have some really creative teachers that are engaging students, and in a CTE classroom too. So again, lots of creativity. This is our band Bitmoji page. So this is Mrs. Freshner right here. She has different videos that are playing here, so you can click on it. This is the Ramones up here. And she has her agenda, what's playing on the stereo there, today's agenda, and this is how she's taking attendance. So I don't know if you've heard about this called Dude, but everyone has their cameras on, and the moderator says 1, 2, 3, and everyone has to point in a direction, and then the moderator can see who is pointing at each other, and then you're both out. So that's how she takes attendance. So everybody's engaged, has the camera on, smiling, setting a good tone for the class. So again, talking about advanced sound setup, this is all really great information, and going right into band curriculum in a virtual setting. So this is even going into our pep songs. So students all have the music right there for them. They can also print it out. And they run through rehearsals. There's assignments for non-band days, and then also more links. So there's some amazing things that are happening at the high school. And I did get one statement from a staff member that says that he really wants to impress upon everyone that we are working really hard. And so it's, so we just really, we are really proud of the work that we are doing, and it's a lot. Everybody has a different learning curve. So they're putting their best foot forward, and we're getting some pretty amazing results.
Thanks, Katie. That was great. We've got, I believe, one more, and I feel badly for Ted Zare because our other school leaders kind of stepped it up and pulled out the PowerPoint. And we generally don't do that. So Ted, I want you to not feel too uncomfortable. Ted's our liaison administrator, serving all of St. Helens Virtual Academy and working with the building principals as we stand up that program. So I see, Ted, you've got your shirt on. Just do it. So go for it.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Ted Zare. I'm helping with Virtual Academy. I guess if I had a video to show, I would do the YouTube video of building a plane as it's flying in the air. You may want to look at that because that's where we are as we're working through the process of developing this Virtual Academy. At the high school, I think we had students, about 98% of the kids logged in at the beginning. We're just working through some systems that will help develop how we want to work together. I do want to thank all the other schools for helping hand out the Chromebooks so kids can have access to the curriculum at the beginning. And right now we're working through Helens, and there's been a lot of professional development for the teachers on how to use the Helens the best they can. And the kids in the program right now are flying through the curriculum. They're really excited. Seems like they're going really fast. So that's what I would have to share at this time.
Thank you, Ted. I think that wraps it up. Trin.
All right. I am a little curious, as you all did a phenomenal job of kind of giving us where we're at today. As the time kind of moves on, are there any areas of emphasis now that we're about a week or so in for us to kind of look at or look to adjust so that now that we've kind of got our feet a little bit wet, we know kind of what to expect moving forward?
I think, Trent, just from my perspective, it's just a lot of practice and getting into the routines. But moving forward, the biggest hurdle that I know that we're all concerned of right now is connectivity and connecting up with those students who may not have access at home to the internet and have to drive to the hotspots. What is it that we can do to help connect all of our families? I was going to share a little bit during my time about what we've got working on.
I do want to say I was very impressed with the 12 number too. That was good to hear that of the 856, 12. So that's pretty impressive. All right, so I believe we have a presentation on Canvas 101, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We've heard lots of good things about Canvas, and I've heard tremendous things at all schools, but in particular, I've heard some interesting work coming out of the middle school. So we kind of focused on them to pique our interest. So we'll let Chris and his team take it away.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Trin. Yeah, as you saw, Canvas is pretty amazing with that Bitmoji classroom that you saw from the cooking class at the high school. We have a few teachers who've put quite a bit of energy into designing some cool classrooms. For now, we're gonna take you through some pretty basic Canvas 101 stuff though. So Canvas for us at the middle school is a learning management system similar to how it's being used at the high school. It's the main hub where we ask our students to log in and report to. It's a place where they can find calendars, assignments, and basically the curriculum and the lessons that the teachers are presenting. It's also the main place where the communication between student, teacher, and parents begins. So today I have with me Scott Piper, who's going to walk you through kind of the teacher side of Canvas and what it's like to have a teacher build and how it's set up. And then after that, we'll have Kim Snook and her daughter Riley walk us through how to access Canvas as a student and what it looks like navigating as a student. Scott, you want to take it away?
Sure. There we go. I can do that. Oh, okay. Welcome. So what we like to call, this is my Canvas dashboard, and it shows repeat of my classes because I'm teaching STEAM and AVID. For Riley's, when you see hers, you'll see the different classes. This is our starting point. This is like when you come into the school, we like to say to our students, this is the school. And then these here are all the different classrooms you're going to go to throughout the day or throughout the week. And this is how it's basically set up. When you enter into a classroom, by just clicking on it, what is nice is that then what we instruct our students to go to is modules. And the modules is that clearing place of all information. It's your textbooks, it's videos, it's papers, it's assignments, it's discussions, it's all the richness is all there. And we tell our students to just go there because all that stuff is stacked in. And you can see how for week one, these are the things that we focused on, which was just getting an introduction of our expectations and the beginning of understanding how Canvas works, because this is completely new to them. And then just working on how to navigate within Canvas itself. All these other things that you see here will pretty much disappear because it's for us to use as a tool. For the student, it becomes more confusion as far as where we go. So we always point the students to the modules. And with that, then they are able to go and move on. And with that, I'm going to move it over to my partner.
Hi, I'm Kim Snook, and a math teacher at the middle school here. So what I have created in my classroom is a shell course, and it's my demo course. So when I'm showing kids during Zoom meetings what I want them to do and what their work is, my shell course looks just like theirs. So we have a student view here. So this is exactly what any sixth grader logging into one of my classrooms would see. And so they've got some important features on the left-hand side. One of the most important being that we tell them daily.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you're showing something else, it's not reflecting on the screen.
Uh-oh, what was it?
It hasn't switched from Scott's view to if you were trying to show a different tab or window, it hasn't followed you.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all.
Okay, let's try this again. Let's go with screen.
Yeah, just click on that.
Thank you for pointing that out, Jessica. I was just using my imagination.
Which is a good thing to have. It's
Okay.
always important.
Do you see where it says welcome to sixth grade? Thank you.
We do.
So it kind of mirrors how one of my lessons today, when my computer died in the middle of a Zoom lesson, and and then I had my cell phone logged into the Zoom lesson too, so got to hold my cell phone and talk to them and told them to imagine what I was trying to teach them for 5 minutes. So there you go. All right, so over here, their dashboard shows their classes, their courses. The calendar is a big deal for us, and we are trying to work, sorry, I'm clicking on Scott's computer, not mine. We're trying to work really hard on showing them, here's what you're working on in class. So they can click in every day and see what their assignment is. If they've turned in an assignment, they can see that it's been turned in because it's got lines drawn through it. So it's it's kind of like their student planner would be in school. The other thing we're working on a lot is check your now I'm denied because I'm not actually a student, but checking your inbox every day. Go into your inbox and check your emails. They're from your teachers, see what's going on. And then we have what I happily call my easy buttons on the bottom. So on every home course, when they scroll down, there's information. They know just click below. So these are all hyperlinked, right? So they're a Celis course. They can just tap on it and it'll take them straight to where they need to be. And now I have to try to drag out of that, don't I? Nope. There we go. Their parent view and student view. Can you all see that now that I clicked back into there? I hope.
Yes.
Okay, good. We've linked in their Zoom schedules. So they just have to click on there to go straight to our Zoom meeting room, and the school calendar so they can look at their day. So every one of us teachers is just trying to make it as clear and open as we can for them so that they have the ability to manage it. This is my classroom. My bulletin board will change, and things like that. These are what I would write, here on the right-hand side. This is what you need to do this week. And these are the things we're working on. So if it's not been completed, they didn't do their homework, they know they're missing that one. So hopefully this is kind of like a planner, a classroom, and a reminder board all at the same time. So I am going to pass it over to Riley, who is a 7th grader, and she is going to show you from her point of view how she manages to use her classroom. So I'll let Mr. Piper go ahead and switch that so we can see.
Hello, and this is how I navigate Canvas. So first, I go to my calendar to see if there are any assignments that I have on there that aren't on my normal page. So as you see, almost all my assignments are done and completed. So then I go to my inbox to see if I have any emails that I haven't read. So as you see, I've read all my emails. So then if I've read all my emails, I go to courses or dashboard, and I can navigate my classes from there. So I'm going to choose Avid, and then as you see, all my assignments are right here. And if I have to click on this and it's not working, then I just click on one of these and then it works probably. If I don't have any classes on here, then I go into modules. And then if I go into modules, then it has classes on here that or assignments on here that I need to take. So when I know it's been done, it has a check mark right here so that I know that I don't need to do it again. So then,
I think you've got everything unless you just want to show them how you can move in between your classes.
then if I want to move in between my classes, then I go back to dashboard, and then there are my classes right here so that I can just click on them, and there they are.
That's all you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, middle school team. Hopefully, school board members and guests and admin, that was a useful presentation for you, and it helps you understand better how students and teachers are using this tool to learn. And that's it for our presentation.
So I appreciate the helpful modeling of how this is working, and both from the teacher view and from the student view. The only question I have, and I think we're still trying to figure this out, is how Canvas will tie to parent view for parents. Because I get a ton of notifications that there's been information uploaded to Canvas, and as a parent, I want to go look at that, but I can't, because we don't have like a parent login to Canvas yet. So I know there's like a parent Canvas app or something, but there's no code for St. Helens. And so I know that that's still kind of in the process, but I imagine that there's a lot of questions about when or how that might get squared away.
Yeah, as you can imagine, Trin, with a better part of the country starting up Canvas, they're a little backlogged and everybody's scrambling to interface between the two systems that we have. But I thought the last I'd heard, Ed's been working that out, and it should be here within, I believe, within the week. But you can't quote me on that. We'd have to check with Ed, but I know he's been working hard on doing that.
We are very nearly there. Like, it'll be probably this week.
Thank you. Well, that's very exciting to hear. And I did want to give a plug to the teachers too, because as we all know, teachers work many, many long hours. And in this particular system, we actually get to see that because it tells us when things are graded. And when I see something get graded at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, it reminds me of all of those long hours as they continue to work. So it is an interesting reinforcement of just how much work goes in throughout the entire day and not just the school hours.
And to add to that, one of the things I'd like to recognize for all teachers in the district at this point, very similar, is the work is different and it's much more public as well. So parents and other people in the community are watching in and seeing some of these classes. But what was fascinating to me today as I watched all of my teachers go through their live synchronous sessions is that in every one of those sessions, multiple students had technical issues or troubleshooting that had to be done. And our teachers have adapted and learned those skills and have been able to coach students through those technical difficulties that didn't exist in the on-site classroom previously. So it's testing them on a whole new level, and to see them be so dynamic, approaching student questions with a social and emotional, kind of learning lens, as well as handling concerns about how to log on or how to access a certain lesson, how to get the notes for that lesson, and being able to quickly email them or screenshot them and share them. All the technical pieces that go into this, teachers are adapting very rapidly, and it's quite amazing to watch.
Well, thank you again for that presentation. It was very informative. So we will move to 5.3, St. Helens School District 502 Business Reports.
All right, I'm just showing the agenda because we'll flip through. A couple documents and make my report brief. First is the resolution that Rick referred to. Of course, this will be addressed in the action items, but the copy of the resolution was included in your packet. So if the board chooses to move forward with this, it will authorize the district to use an alternative procurement method, specifically the CMGC, for the high school renovation project. So that's resolution number 7. Resolution number 8, this will look a little bit more familiar to us as we look at supplemental budgets. This one specifically addresses our special revenue funds. And here we can see the total change in revenues and the funds as they're appropriated. So we are taking $795,000 in and spending it across instruction, support services, and enterprise and community services as we adhere to the comprehensive distance learning grant requirements as well as the student investment account. So total special revenue fund will now be $7,349,000. The second supplemental budget is for the capital projects fund. So here we have again, recognizing bond proceeds and premiums, anticipating about $90,000 interest, increasing total interest and other sources to $280,000 for the year. Things like our construction excise tax and facility rental fees also roll up to that local source, but those were already pre-budgeted when the board adopted the regular budget. So again, total revenues, $62,231,000. We're not spending everything though. As I mentioned, a majority of the money will go into the ending fund balance to be spent in the next 2 to 3 fiscal years. Finally, we have that last item is the professional services agreement between Soderstrom Architects. I just want to thank Cornerstone for helping put this together. That's one of the reasons we bring on owner's rep, is they use their industry experience to help negotiate a good contract with all of the different parties we work with for the district. And so this packet again was sent to the board prior to review. So I will pass the torch to Scott unless there's any questions on any of the items I went over.
Just when we go through the resolution, do we need to list every number on there as we go through that? Just for clarification.
Sorry, Trin, which resolution?
When we go to our budget adoption resolutions, are we going to need to list every number on there verbally, or can we just go through the resolution at the top?
Oh, down at the action item? Yes. I believe in the past when we've done the supplemental budgets, we've just referred to acting on the resolution number. I don't believe we've actually read the entirety of the supplemental budgets.
I just read the resolution title.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yes, yes, sorry.
At one point, we did read all of that, and then we decided it was a little easier to do this. It's already been discussed. It's already record. So at that point, you can then, since all this information is already entered into the record, basically, if you just cross-reference the title, you're fine.
Perfect. Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Thanks. We might pre-record that if that was the case.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take my spot. I've just got a few things that I wanted to mention. The first piece I think is exciting. We have the St. Helens Educational Association, which is the teacher association. We've settled their contract. They've voted and it's up for the board for final approval. Really quick highlights and things to note. Most of the contract was finalized prior to the pandemic, and we reached multiple agreements, and really we finished up with one meeting, I think it was last Thursday, that lasted about an hour and a half. So we were really pretty close, and then our world changed and teachers and our admin team focused on students rather than the contract, and then we've just now taken some time to get back to it. Most of the changes in language were relatively small, changing grammatical pieces, pronouns, that type of thing. Probably one of the bigger changes was a rewrite of the complaint procedure. That was an update aligning to the board policies. There are a few pieces in there that are a little archaic that as a negotiation team, both for the district and the association agreed needed to be removed. One of those were a requirement for staff to face their person who's complaining first before any discussion with admin, and that included students. And so we felt that wasn't appropriate. The association agreed that, you know, when we can, we always want to talk those things out, but sometimes with just the differential between an adult and a student, it's not appropriate. So we're really pleased that everybody thought that was something to remove, and I think it tightened up the complaint procedure. And again, as I said, it aligned it to what our board policy is. So that was essentially the contract. One of the pieces that was holding up was the length. We were hoping for possibly 3 to 4 years, but given what we're looking at for potential fiscal reality and the biennium coming up and the economy that we're in, we just opted for a 1-year contract just because it made more financial sense to be conservative in that area. So that's the contract in a nutshell. I believe it's been presented and posted for you to review. Do you have any questions on the contract? Okay. The next thing I wanted to share was the matrix. I'm going to try to do this at every one of our meetings to just give you an idea of where we're at. And hopefully you can see. Can you see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up real quick? Perfect. Right, so I wanted to, again, remind folks the reopening schools matrix. One of the key pieces is if, and I've said this before, if a district draws greater than 10% of the students from one or more counties, the rate of the new case per 100,000 and percent test positivity must be considered as well. And Trin had asked, I believe at our last board meeting, if it wasn't there should. I got confirmation that no, OD says it must. So we absolutely do have to follow the other 2 counties that we're looking at, and those would be Multnomah and Washington County. Here are the matrix guidelines: less than or equal to 10 cases per 100,000, and then less than or equal to a 5% positivity rate. So I thought it was important to note, here's countries that have successfully opened schools. And again, I appreciate the state giving us some numbers that we could watch rather than just trying to guess if we're going to open or not. You can see that the case per 100,000 is well below 5% in all the countries that opened up successfully or relatively successfully. And the case per 100,000 is mostly below 10%. Denmark's a little high. If you look back in May of this year, we were at 0.8 cases per 100,000 as a state, or I'm sorry, 0.8% test positivity, and then 5.6 per 100,000. Am I reading that right? So given that, we're getting pretty close, and then things began to spike on us. And so what I wanted to share first is this graph here. The red line is a 5% test positivity. You can see Columbia County is this blue line. We had a little spike in the middle of summer, continued down, worked our way up, and then the last count we were headed back down. That's different than the state, which is green. We were beginning to come down in Washington County, Multnomah County, and the state, but as of August 30th, things started going back up and well above the red line of the 5%. So we need these numbers to trend down. We need not only our 3 counties to come down, but we also need the state to come down so we can begin to have in-person instruction. And then the other piece is the case per 100,000. Again, the red line, the 10 or lower We dipped down to that point at one point. The blue again is Columbia County. The green is the state, and then Multnomah is yellow, and Washington is in the black. None of us have been below that. So we're hoping that trends continue in a downward trajectory. I'm guessing that our November date was probably a pretty safe date for us to pick. Really our next steps, once we finalize some connectivity issues, is to begin talking about what our transition is to in-person learning, because there's a lot of things that we've been doing, and as you heard, doing well, and we want to continue that as we roll into face-to-face instruction. We're hoping it's going to be soon and right at the end of this quarter, but we'll be watching these matrix indicators to determine that. Okay, so I'll stop sharing. And then the last little bit I wanted to mention was that we're continuing to work on connectivity. We've got Comcast Internet Essentials, which will provide internet to all families if they qualify. Qualifying is not having internet within the last 90 days through Comcast, and being on free and reduced, then they qualify for, I believe it's $9.95 a month. So we have that option, but we also have options for families who are struggling based on the economy, where we will be providing free internet for those, again, who qualify. We're also looking into or finalizing a contract with Verizon Hotspots for those folks that are outside of the Comcast service area. So those are the two that we're most eager to begin moving forward. Our hope is to begin signing up students the beginning of next week. The challenge that I'm worried about is, again, like the rest of the country, everybody's trying to get a hold of the hardware so we can connect up our students. And as I understand it, there may be some backlogs. So we're going to work really hard to get the hardware in hand so we can get it out to our families. And I guess the last thing that I want to really give kudos to, and that's to Jessica and Misty working with transportation so we can provide meals to families. We're doing deliveries on bus routes, which I think is just a fantastic service to our community, and we want to expand that. So if you're interested in need of meals, I believe there's lots of information on our website. I think it's even been placed in the local newspaper on how to sign up. We want to fill those buses up with meals and get them out to all our families. So I think it's a great service, and I appreciate them for doing that. So that's my report. Are there any questions? Okay.
So before we move on, one question. Just out of curiosity, with the IEPs and SPED and things in just an entirely different world now, how are we doing with that? Any updates on that?
You know, I would need to defer to student services to have Lori or Jen speak on that. I know that we're doing a lot of work to make some accommodations, but I think they could give you a better understanding. Lori, would you like to, or Jen?
Hi, good evening, board. Jen is here too, so if I don't capture everything, I'll certainly defer to Jen because she's been working with a lot of programs. We've definitely been having IEP meetings virtually. So our staff are getting caught up on IEPs that may have been missed in the spring, or in the spring we were given the ability, if a parent didn't feel comfortable coming to a meeting on an online platform, ODE said, well, we could wait till the fall. Well, ODE's kind of revised that statement or that guidance and said, yeah, it's really time to get together with families. So we're doing that. We're also figuring out ways of working with our school psych team, which Jen has been doing, to look at what we can do to start conducting evaluations virtually. That is posing to be a little bit more difficult than we had anticipated, but we're definitely looking and working with our partner with the ESD of what that looks like. And as you might imagine, just to give you like an idea, is most of the standardized assessments, like cognitive assessments or academic assessments, were normed in a face-to-face in-person format. And so we don't really understand the gravity of like how much will that change the validity or the reliability of the test. So we're really relying on our ESD partners to help support us during this process and really educate us and help us provide the evaluations in the best way that we possibly can. Other than that, I mean, it's going really well. I've jumped in on a few of our classrooms from our specialized programs, and the teachers are teaching and the kids are happy. I actually was at a meeting this morning and I got to meet 7 of our students' 4-legged friends that were at the morning meeting. And so it was really great. Like they had kind of a sharing and show and tell, and they were really explaining and sharing with their friends and their teachers what was going on, and that was great. And then I also popped into a reading lesson that was going on today, and it was really remarkable what our teachers are doing. They're working really hard, and the kids really seem to be enjoying that interaction virtually as well. So if I can answer any other questions, let me know, or maybe Jen might have some additional information to share too. So.
And I would just add everything Lori said, but we also have some of our staff are still working really hard on building schedules and ensuring that all kids are getting their services in all of the different locations, and trying to figure out how we work with the virtual academy in that setting and making sure kids are getting their supports and the levels that they need and those kinds of things. So everybody's just been working really hard.
Thank you. I think your point about the in-person and the norming of those tests is an important one. And as we try and figure out how to get the kiddos tested and get it squared away, Scott, is that something that we would be able to kind of push back on the state to find some way to do some sort of modified in-person for those types of things or anything, do you think?
We can always try. My guess is the state would more likely move towards another delay, which doesn't help our kids. So I know that our ESD is really working hard on a solution to that, because we're not alone, not only across the state, but across the country trying to grapple with this.
And Trend too, one of the things that we're really fortunate in our district is that so many of our students, we have a lot of information and a lot of educational information because of our universal screenings of using EasyCBM. Our teachers have had formative assessments. We have progress reports and progress monitoring kind of systems that we've been using for a really long time too. So our school psychs have been doing a lot of training with our educational service district, the ESD, to look at evaluation in a different way. Not saying that we're going to stop doing standardized assessments, but we're really kind of unpacking and saying what's absolutely necessary and what information is in a student's file right now, and then how can the educators along with the family make appropriate decisions for the kids that we're assessing right now too. So we're really looking at different ways of assessment, just like different ways of teaching kids virtually. So.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely are having to find new and inventive ways to get things done. So I know it's a challenge. All right. Any other questions from anybody else on anything?
I had one thing I wanted to add, if I could.
Absolutely.
We forgot to add this to our presentation, but we wanted to thank Promise Church, our faith-based partners, for the gifts they gave to the staff at the elementary school. It was really, really kind. It was a card with some gift cards in them, thanking all the staff for the work they do for the students in St. Helens, and they gave us several other prizes that we could kind of do a drawing for, and people were really pleased with that. It was nice. They gave us a microphone to use for your computer. They gave us some wireless earbuds, and I forget a couple of the other items, but it was really a nice gesture from our faith-based partners, Promise Church.
And that was for the entire district, not just elementary. It was the entire district were gifted.
Nice.
That's very impressive and very much appreciated. So that was very nice. Thank you for bringing that up. All righty. moving on to 6.0, we did not have any comments, so moving on to 7.0, action items. So Bill's done a wonderful job of doing most of the motioning here. Do I have someone else?
I was just getting my my school district iPad up, so I had my. I move we adopt resolution 2021 number 7, authorizing the construction manager general contractor method for the St. Helens High School addition renovation project.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
And I. 7.2.
I move that we adopt resolution 2021 number 8, adopting supplemental budget number 1 and making appropriations for the 2021 fiscal year.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
And Tren, aye. 7.3.
And I again move resolution that we adopt resolution 2021 number 9, adopting the supplemental budget number 2 and making appropriations for the 2021 fiscal year.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
Tren is aye. 7.4.
Well, this one, they didn't give me quite as good of information, but I move that we approve the the professional services agreement for architectural services with Soderstrom.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
Tren is aye. 7.5.
In this case, I believe that I move that we ratify St. Helens School District and SHEA collective bargaining agreement. Should I say for the year 2021? That's what it is.
Yes.
I'll second.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Bill.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
Tren is aye. All right, number 8.0, upcoming meeting input. Right now what we have is for our October 14th board work session, we will have the St. Helens School District Equity Team join us for a report. Does anybody else have any other input or things that they would like to discuss? The sound of silence says no. All right, that will bring us to the conclusion of our meeting. Bill, would you like to do the honors?
Going for the grand slam. Sure, I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Probably not taking any discussion on this. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and we